If somehow someone, and in all likelihood it's not going to be you, can convince him to get the help that he needs, then they need to do an intervention like Alcoholics Anonymous does.
On today's episode, I am joined, as always, really the main star of the show, the guy who started this all the way back almost 30 years ago, Dr. Joe Beam.
Yeah, well, I was only 4 at the time. Oh. It was just...
Only 4, and your daughter was still bossing you around.
By the time she was 4, she was. I'll tell you that.
Well, when we were previously recording one of these, my daughter did walk in. She didn't boss me around like normal, but that is the joy of children. And normally, if you're listening or watching this online, normally Dr. Joe is joined by Kimberly, and she couldn't join us today. But we are answering your questions submitted on our website via the chat about Relationship Radio. So if you're ready, I'd like to get into a couple more questions today.
Sure, love to.
First question. My husband had left over 7 times. The last time was after my C-section and our baby was in the NICU. He was wonderful about 90% of the time. I don't understand why he explodes in anger or runs away so much. I'm in so much emotional pain, I feel crazy. Is it time to let go?
First of all, I am so very sorry for your situation. And did she indicate, Phil, whether the baby is still in intensive care or not?
No, I have no indication of that.
Okay. All right. Well, our hearts and prayers are with you for that. Left 7 times, explodes with anger. Okay. We work from the principle, I was taught this by Dr. Frank Scott years ago, and I've not seen it fail yet, which is that anger is based on pain. The fact that he has left 7 times, the fact that when your child winds up in neonatal intensive care, where that things obviously could mean that the child might not make it, that the child could perish, obviously, when in that kind of situation, then it sounds as if somehow or other your husband is running from something. Now, I can't diagnose that. I can't tell you that I'm absolutely sure about that. All I can do is tell you what it sounds like. And whatever it is he's running from, it appears to be he's either running from responsibility or he's running from situations where he feels that he has no control. It would be very interesting to look back into his childhood and to see how he was reared. You know, what was relationship like with dad, with mom, and not just them, but with siblings, and not just with them, but with the friends around him. And if indeed my guessing is correct, and here's a man who panics when he feels he has no control, and the way he deals with that panic is to try to run away from it, then he's probably not going to get better on his own. In a situation like that, if my guessing is correct, then a good therapist or counselor, not for the marriage, but for him to be able to deal with why do you run away? What are you looking for? What do you think you're running to? And my guess is that he really doesn't know what he's running to. And my guess is that in the times that he's left, he's run in different directions doing different things. Now, again, it's a guess. I could be wrong. And so the short answer is he, based on what you're saying, apparently needs some pretty strong help. You can't do it. Unless you are a professional, even if you were a professional counselor, because of you're so close to him, you'd be biased. So even then, you couldn't do it. So my recommendation with it is, if you have any leverage with him at all, tell him that he has to get with a counselor. And I would recommend that you find one who is very well trained in and practiced in emotionally focused therapy. That's EFT. And if I were in your shoes, I would use that for leverage. I would say, if you want to continue in this relationship, then you have to go see a therapist. I'll help you find one we can find, not about the marriage, but about you. If he refuses to do that, then you have a decision to make. Do you want to continue to live in a marriage with a man who's going to keep running away from things, keep abandoning you, especially when you need him and when you're in pain? Do you want to stay in a marriage like that? Now, if you do because you think he's rescuable, do. But if you think, no, I can't take that kind of pain, I have enough pain already with a child and all these other kinds of things. And if that's the case, then if you call it quits, if you say, I can't stay in this relationship, I don't see how anybody on the planet can blame you, because you cannot be his healer. You can try to use leverage to get him to healing, but you can't be his healer. So it's your choice. Do you want to live like this, or use the leverage, or end it?
I think this goes back to some of our previous conversations, either offline or online, about the essential and necessary pushes that are required in order to heal a marriage and save a marriage, and heal a relationship for this matter, but also setting solid boundaries and stops and what is required to make this relationship work past then. So I highly recommend you search our boundaries trainings on either or YouTube or inside our training program. So I highly recommend that. That's directly from Dr. Joe, where he will walk you through how to think through something like this. But absolutely find somebody. And if you ever feel like you're not in a safe environment, please get help. That is all we can ask for.
It's very true. It didn't sound like he takes out his anger on her other than by being angry. But you're definitely right about that, Phil. If he puts you in any kind of physical, intellectual, emotional, spiritual danger, you've got to get safe. And if I'm right about his running, then every time he's left you, he's either gone to drinking or drugs or some other person or things like that, trying to find what it is he's looking for. And he's not going to find it. He needs help.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So next question, Dr. Joe. Should I work on my marriage? My husband was a kind, happy, and generous man, father who drank just a bit. Now he's a stay-at-home alcoholic, angry, unhappy, and not an attentive father. We are separated due to an intervention order enforced by the police and have 3 young children, and I still love him.
Well, first of all, I'm so happy to hear that you have a heart at large that says all kinds of good things about you. And some really, really good people can do some really, really crappy stuff. Apparently, you still see the good man in him. And I hope that the good man in him can be rescued. I really do. But if there is this court order, basically, if we're understanding that correctly, then that means that you're being protected from him by the courts. Then my question is, how would you work on the marriage? If you are in danger, you see, we don't recommend people separate. We don't recommend that people give up. But when somebody is in danger, either you're in danger or your children are in danger, we say get to safety. Be safe. And so based on the situation you're describing, I don't know how you work on the marriage. If somehow someone, and in all likelihood, it's not going to be you, can convince him to get the help that he needs, then they need to do an intervention like Alcoholics Anonymous does. Now, if you have some people that you know that care about him and that have influence with him, that if he would likely, if not probably, at least likely listen to them, then get those friends together, 2 or 3 of them, and then have them go to our website, marriagehelper.com, and then use our search engine on our website to look for intervention. It'll take you to a page on our website where you have 2 45-minute audios that tell you how to do an intervention, and then a PDF that you download to do an intervention. Understand, it cannot be done by the spouse. It can't be done by you. But it can be done by other people if there's anybody who has any influence on him left. Now, if you get together that team to do that, tell them to please follow that document exactly. Don't just think, okay, we know and we know how to do this. Trust me, that particular model is based on the Alcoholics Anonymous model, which means it's thoroughly thought through, and therefore they need to do everything in it as it's written. It's not because of my brilliance. It's something that AA has used for years. And if they can get him to get help for the alcohol, where he stops drinking and starts to become a rational human being again, and then you call back and you say, hey, how do I work on the marriage? We'll have all kinds of good ideas for you. But not until then, because we are not going to encourage you to do anything that might put you in danger. We won't do that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The reference Dr. Joe is giving is marriagehelper.com/intervention. There you will find 2 audio trainings from his time at Lipscomb University, talking through this process as well, including a PDF to walk through this with you. So again, if you have it, for anyone listening, if you have something that's going on in the marriage that is a damaging behavior like alcoholism or drugs or something along those lines, please visit marriagehelper.com/intervention. And maybe like the previous individual, if you need more help, please get more help fast.
Please.
So that link, if you don't remember that link that I said, it'll be in the show notes below or in the description of the YouTube video along with it. Well, Dr. Joe, this has been a kind of a deep conversation today.
And maybe people heard answers they don't typically hear from us because it's like, you guys are gung-ho for saving marriages, aren't you? We are. But not at the cost of your life, not the cost of your emotional life, your spiritual life, your mental life, or your physical life. We always want you to be safe. And so if it sounds like we're giving you different answers, no, everything that we've talked about is in harmony with what we teach. And we are very much pro-marriage, and we want to try to save every marriage. But forgive the repetitiveness. We want to encourage you to be either yourself or your children or even your spouse in danger.
Absolutely. Well, Dr. Joe, thank you for your time today. If you want more information about who we are and what we do at Marriage Helper, please visit us at marriagehelper.com. And please join us next week for Relationship Radio. Thanks so much for watching this video. If you'd like to learn more about upcoming dates of our workshop or just about the workshop in general, please click right here. If you'd like to take a free course and start learning about the 3 things you can do to start bringing your spouse back, click right here. As always, please consider subscribing, liking this video, and turning on notifications so you can learn and be notified when new videos like this one come out. We'll see you in the next video.